Hello, my cookies, and welcome. Welcome to Russell Cooks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I have a fantastic grilled recipe for you. We're going to be doing some grilled shrimp, and we're going to do some grilled oysters. Now, I love raw oysters. Not everybody does. I'm going to present you this recipe where you can grill them up and eat them a different way. So if you don't like raw, maybe give these a chance. I'm going to be cooking it over my Breeo wood-fired stove. We're also going to be making a goat cheese kind of fondue and bacon apple salad to go with our seafood. It's going to be fantastic. So now that we know what we're doing, let's gather our ingredients. I got some buttermilk, whole grain mustard, some parsley. I also have some chives. These are optional. I think they add to the recipe. Otherwise, I wouldn't include them. Some cultured salted butter. I really want a prominent butter flavor. I have some garlic cloves, just about 2 big ones or 4 small ones. 2 different apples. I got a Honey Crisp for a little sweetness and crunch. And I got some Granny Smith for a little tartness. Got a lemon. Got my goat cheese, got some olive oil, salt, bacon, and then of course I have some peeled and deveined shrimp as well as some whole in-shell oysters. Now that we know what we're doing and we've gathered our ingredients, let's get cooking. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the bacon cooking because that's going to take the longest. I'm actually going to cook my bacon in a pan on the grill. I just don't want all that bacon fat dripping down into it. Gonna get my pan on. All right, let's get our bacon in here. We're going to be chopping up this bacon, so don't worry about keeping it looking real nice. Just don't burn it. Let's just cook all of this. I don't need this much bacon. I almost always cook bacon in an oven. I think it's the best way to cook bacon. But if I cook in the skillet, I add some water to the pan. So I put in about a 1/3 cup of water, and you're saying, Russell, why are you adding water to the pan? Because it helps the fat render. Let's do the shrimp. I got extra large, as big as you can get, 16 to 20s, 20 to 25s are fine. Anything smaller, you're going to have trouble grilling, might fall through the grill grates. Those numbers simply mean 20 to a pound, 16 to a pound, 25 to a pound. They come in ranges, 16 to 20, 20 to 25, doesn't matter. Try and get as close to 16s and 20s as you can. You want some big shrimp. So I'm going to do about half a pound. These are probably closer to 25, so I'll do like 12 shrimp. I'm just going to take off the tails. All right, it's a little olive oil, a little salt, 1/4 teaspoon kosher salt. Shrimp are already pretty salty, so I don't feel the need to add a little bit more. Let's get our garlic cloves in there. Again, 1, 2 large at most. All right, so I'm just gonna set this aside. Let's go ahead and flip some bacon. All right, that might be too hot. I am going to adjust. All right, next up, fondue. This one is super duper easy. It's 1 part goat cheese, 1 part butter, 1 part buttermilk. So I got 8 ounces of goat cheese. Let's do half a pound of butter here. All right, and now for the buttermilk, I'm not gonna add it all. Let's add about a cup, 8 ounces. Now I'm just gonna sit this over in a warm place and let the kind of butter and goat cheese melt and soften. If it is too hot, it won't come together. It'll look broken, not great. You want it just in a little bit warmer than room temp. I'm gonna put it over in the sun right over here. Now let's go back over and check on our bacon. Let's also get to our apples. I'm gonna start with the Granny Smith. Gonna have it, take out the core. You know what? Let's quarter it. Take out the core this way. I'll get some more grill marks on it. Just gonna stick these apples on my grill grate, grill them up. I just want a little bit of char. Kind of want to go get one of my weights. Let's make our mustard butter sauce. So we got about 4 tablespoons of butter in there. Let's put about a tablespoon mustard in here, and we're just gonna let that sit and soften as well. I'm gonna put that over here. All right, let's check on these apples. Not quite. I'm gonna lower this again. Let's check on this bacon. A few more minutes on the bacon. I think the apples are done, so let's get those off. Get a little char on the apple. Bacon's done too, so let's get this off. You don't have to do all this outside. You can just do this inside and come out and cook up your shrimp and oysters. But hey, when it's nice out, why not? I'm just gonna cube up these apples once they cool a little bit. But until then, let's get a little fresh parsley in here. A little, maybe about a tablespoon minced here. Just want a little bit of green, a little pop of freshness. Parsley's pretty mild, but it definitely adds a little bit of freshness. I'm gonna be cutting up this apple. I'm just gonna make little cubes. I got my Honey Crisp, which will add a bunch of sweetness. And then I have my Granny Smith, which are a little bit more tart. I leave the skin on. You don't have to. Granny Smiths are fine for the skin. I'm actually going to cleave it in half just to make the cubes a teeny bit smaller. So we'll do 1/2-inch cubes here. We got our apples there. It's time to add our bacon to this. Got my bacon here. Again, I'm just going to use a little bit of the bacon. Crunchy bacon bits. Yes, please. Let me mix it around a little bit. You know what? I'll add a little bit more apple to it just so I can finish off this little bacon here. I'm also going to give a squeeze of lemon over top. That will keep the apples from turning brown. Now the bacon's salty, but not salty enough. So let's just put maybe a 1/4 teaspoon salt in here and a teeny drizzle, maybe a teaspoon of olive oil. Remember, the bacon's going to add some fatty richness, so we don't need too much of it. This fondue doesn't look warm enough, so I'm going to set it someplace a little bit hotter, and that's going to be right near this wood fire oven. Let's do some red bell pepper here. Just doing about 1/4-inch pieces. I want them pretty small here. My knife cuts are probably a little bit bigger than I'd want, but let's go ahead and give this a nice little taste here. I actually think it needs a little bit more apple, so I'm going to add these Granny Smiths, which are a little bit more tart. I love the char that comes through. Really adds to the complexity. A little bit more lemon, and just a teeny bit more salt here. Let's get another log on this fire. Let's check in with our fondue here. Nice. This is a really good consistency. It hasn't broken. It's perfect. Look, this is what you want to do. Whisk it around. Get all those lumps out. Let's give it a taste. Maybe it needs a teeny bit more goat cheese, but instead we're going to add a little bit of lemon and a little bit of salt. 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt here. Oh, this is perfect consistency. Let me show you. I have some chives here. Let me just cut the tips off. I like chives in the fondue. Not necessary. Completely optional. So I'm going to put the shrimp on a skewer just to make it easier to get them on, flip them, get them off. So when I do this, I like to do through kind of like the middle thick area, right? Slide it on down. And now I like to have this guy facing the other way, feet to head type thing. Skewer them all like this. Also, packing them pretty tightly together will help prevent them from overcooking. I am going to grease up my grill again. I'm also going to get my oysters. They should be closed. They should be sealed up, and I'm going to put them on as well. The oysters are going to take 3 to 5 minutes. These shrimp will probably take 3 minutes, flipping halfway through. Don't try this at home. Let's do the oysters. So putting the oysters on, I'm going to do curve side down. The oysters are on 3 to 5 minutes. Some will open. It's okay if they don't open. That's fine. We're going to take them off, get the top shell off, put a little bit of that mustard butter in, and we can always put it back on just to help that mustard butter melt a little bit. Now it's time for the shrimp. Oh yeah, some of these oysters are opening up. Try and position them so they don't drip out into the fire, if you can. Let's get this lower. And here we go. Let's flip the shrimp. Yeah, look at that. We got some nice char on top. Oysters are starting to crack. Let's get them off. They're done. Get the shrimp off. We're good. So I am going to open up a few of these oysters. Just pry them open with a spoon. Scrape the oyster because it'll be stuck to the top. Scrape the oyster off the top into the bottom. You're going to have something that looks like this. Hopefully you got a little bit more juice in it. Then you're going to take a little bit of your mustard butter mixture and you're going to put it right on top. Hopefully that carryover cooking will melt this butter. Look at that. It just melted that butter. You can put parsley in this. I put a little bit of lemon juice. We got our goat cheese fondue. So what we used to do in the restaurant was we'd make a nice little ring. Just like that. Maybe a little bit bigger. Let's make it a little bit bigger. If you went out to a restaurant and you paid and you got this, I think you'd be happy. So let's try this cooked oyster. Remember, we grilled these oysters. Got a little butter, a little grain mustard on them, a little bit of lemon. It's tender, juicy. You get the richness from the butter. You get a little bit of that flavor depth from the mustard, and then the briny sea comes through with that sweet oyster. If you don't like raw oysters, give these a try. Let's get in here. Cut the shrimp, cuts easily. You get a little bit of the fondue, a little bit of this apple. Tender shrimp, very sweet, comes through. Crunchy, crisp apple, a little bit of char on there. You get a balance of the sweet and the tart with the Honeycrisp and the Granny Smith. And then just the lemon brings the brightness. The creaminess from this fondue. Ooh, a nice salty bite of bacon. I feel good eating this meal too. You're like, you put so much butter in it, Russell. I'm like, I know. That's why it tastes so good. So that was grilled shrimp, grilled oysters with an apple bacon slaw and a goat cheese fondue. The best way to support this channel for free is just subscribe to me on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. If you like any of the stuff I use, I have a whole bunch of affiliate links down below in the description. I get a little kickback, but I only put up stuff that I use or I enjoy myself. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.